Hey guys, we're going to simplify expressions. So you can see I have three expressions here. We're going to go ahead and start with A. And as I do it, I'm going to talk about what property I'm using to simplify. So in A, I have 7 plus, and then the sum of 12 plus x. As you can see, the 12 plus x in parentheses. Well, we're going to use the associative property. And this tells us that since we're working with addition and only addition, it does not matter which numbers I group, right? So which numbers and variables I group, I'm going to group the ones that make the most sense to simplify this problem. So I'm going to regroup these, and I'm going to do 7 plus 12 and group those since those are like, they're both regular numbers, and then plus x. And when I solve this, I have 7 plus 12. And that gives me 19, and then I drop down my plus x. So my simplified expression would just be 19 plus x. Okay. Now we have the sum of 6 and 1/10 plus x, and then all of that plus 8 and 4/10. Well, I can first start with the commutative property to show me that I can really move these all around since, again, I'm working with addition. So I'm going to use the commutative property. And I'm going to get this 6 and 1/10 closer to the 8 and 4/10. You technically don't need to write this step down, but I like to just so I can see in what the order is that I'm solving this problem. So I'm going to switch this around to say 8 plus 6 and 1/10, and then the sum of that plus 8 and 4/10. And so now that the 6 and 1/10 and the 8 and 4/10 are close to one another, I'm going to use the associative property. And I'm going to group the like terms, so the numbers that are just regular numbers that I can actually combine. So I'm going to leave my x out, and I'm going to add it to the sum of 6 and 1/10 plus 8 and 4/10. And now I'm going to add those together. So I'm going to go do that off to the side. I remember I'm going to line my decimals up, and I'm going to get 14 and a half, right? 14 and 5/10. So that's going to leave me with x plus 14 and 5/10. That would be my simplified version. And then we're going to have one that's a little bit different, and it involves multiplication, we know, because the 5 is right next to a parentheses, which means that it is multiplication. So I'm going to use the associative property of multiplication. And all these up here, like we use the associative property of addition, right? Because we've only been working with addition so far. But now we're going to use the associative property of multiplication because we know that it doesn't matter the order in which we multiply numbers or what we pair together, since it's all multiplication. If we were to break this down, right, it would be 5 times 11y. But instead, we're going to associate, and that's how I always think of parentheses, like, oh, they're associating together, right? They're like in the same little bubble. We're going to associate, in my words, 5 and 11. So it's really going to be 5 times 11. And then I'm going to put y after it because, again, it doesn't matter. Since it's all multiplication, we can associate the different numbers. So I'm going to do 5 times 11, which is 55, and then just bring down my y. So I'm going to end up with 55y.